And welcome back to Bolton Wanderers FC. We just moved away from the women's pro and now over to the men's. Tom Cousins, Darrel, Whitworth. Darrel breaking off in the opening frame and straight in with the cue ball. So top cap still hanging on to his number one spot. Ball in hand anywhere behind the bolt line. You can see he's going to attempt to take on the Reds. Just get his angle right because he wants to come down the table for this one at the bottom. And right at the start of this match, this looks like a pretty simple finish for Cousins. Well, would you believe it? A complete miscue there from Tom. Stretching over the ball. There you see. Absolute full-on miscue. Didn't commit a foul. He still hit the ball, hit a cushion. But I bet Darrel was thinking that, well, that's the end of the first frame. And to see Tom Cousins miscue, I mean, wow. I don't know what the odds on that are to come up, but incredibly rare thing to see. Yeah, nicely done there by Darrel. Well, he's got a long way up the table with that cue ball. And bearing in mind, he needs to hold this sort of around the middle of, just below the middle of the table here to get onto this last yellow. Well, he's played it firm up and down. Is that going to be enough? I think he's going to have to play a double. Not only that, he's got to get on the black. So from being gifted, there's chance here. Well, he's gone back with a double, missed it, and that's incredible. Cousins there gets away with a miscue when the Reds were complete tap-ins, and Darrel does not take advantage. I'm just waiting for Tom Cousins to come to the table. I wonder if he'd been to see 𝗘𝗃𝗃 Jim sort his tip out. I'm Tony Holgate. With me, as seems to be all weekend, is Mark Shepherd. It was your turn to disappear for ice and, was it a wet towel or something?
Yeah, I got caught by a few people on my way back to the commentary box. Nice to say hello to a few people. It's also very busy. I mean, normally on a Sunday evening, once you're at this stage of the tournament, everyone's gone home, but it's amazing how much action there is still out in the main arena.
Caught by a few people, want to say hello to you, come on. We did miss something that's a very rare sight, was a Tom Cousins complete miscue. But he's dodged a bullet, Mark.
Yeah, that is a rare sight, isn't it? And it never does much for your confidence when you miscue it. You always start worrying you're going to do it again. Bringing action from on this table after the conclusion of this match.
Another huge break there from Cousins. Makes 2 balls, make that 3 balls. Well, I think he's going to have to play reds. He could play this one that's right over the bottom left-hand corner. He plays this sort of half ball fairly firmly. He can just nudge that other red out as well, or kick the yellow away from the red. But wants to play like a screw shot here as well, get the cue ball back out. Played that very well indeed. As long as, oh, has he? I was expecting the red to have a bit of a bump out away from that yellow there, so Tom won't be over enamoured with that. He'll probably play the plant next though. Now I think it's the time to address the problem at the bottom of the table. Be interested to see how big the gap is. He might just be able to drop on this, play it so he can just cut it in the corner and cue ball will flick off that yellow. And any sort of angle on the red at the top of the table where he's next to now, that yellow can be used as a buffer as well to get on the last red.
Yeah, he saw him just come around there to see what the angle was, and that was very much not the one he picked out.
No, he wanted to rest on top of that, the yellow ball there. Well, I think he's probably going to have to play the double back in the corner towards him, towards where he's going to be stood.
It's very all or nothing, isn't it? I agree with you, I think it is, but if he plays this, it moves the ball that's blocking the yellow, so if he doesn't go in, he knows he's going to be leaving the finish for Daryl. Doesn't have to do too much with the cue ball here. He's actually going to go around the yellow. Well, that was always the problem. It's actually been fairly lucky that that red's got slightly in the way, but it still should be a very straightforward chance this for Daryl. New professional player, but a player that's been playing at a professional level for some time, Darrell Whitworth. He's one of those names, if you were ever holding amateur events and you saw his name on the list, you knew that was always going to be a serious game. Clearly adapting well to the pro ranks. But this is a tough test for anyone. Quarterfinals of a Pro Series event up against the current #1 ranked player. Been talking throughout the day about the narrative. Will Tom Cousins end this weekend still #1 ranked? If he gets outscored by a couple of thousand points by Declan Brennan, which in reality probably means Declan winning the event, given that they've both gone quite deep now, he would take over the #1 spot. So it's been steady from Daryl. Chance he may not have expected to get, gratefully received. Darrell Whitworth is exactly the kind of opponent that's just going to turn up with a consistent standard of play. His best isn't as high as Tom's best because almost nobody's is, but it's not going to be an easy draw. He's going to take the balls if they're there for him. So Tom's going to need to play well. And he did play well when we saw him this morning. It definitely lifted a level since we watched the match against Brian Halco last night, which was not the most convincing performance by his standards. that was a good pot. Slightly delicate shot that, even though it looked easy. Tricky angle to pick out. Just coming around to look at those two balls that are next to each other. So that tells you that at least one of those two balls must be potable. Otherwise he wouldn't have played it like this. He's going to clear the ball at the bottom of the table, then play back up for a ball to the top right corner. He just rolls the right hand one of the two balls in. So the cue ball will naturally run into the left hand one. That should hold position. Well, he's expecting a fuller contact. May still be okay. I think he has left a gap through. It's slightly fortunate. He wasn't expecting to end up going through that gap of the yellows. That's fine. Natural angle. Screw up the left-hand side cushion behind the yellows for access to the 8 ball.
Very nice there from Tom Cousins.
Cue ball running slightly loose, but stays on the table. This looks a pretty good split as ever.
Yeah, a huge clatter there from Tom Cousins with that break. And to be fair, you can make a case for both colour.
Yeah, you can. When I first looked at it, I thought yellows would be the choice, but you can make an argument for both.
I always look at yellows first. I think because they stand out more. I thought, oh yeah, yellows. So then you actually look at the reds and you think, well, they're all good as well.
Well, the yellows aren't so good now. That's an uncharacteristic error from Tom. Normally talk about the fact that he's very good at opening things up with the first shot. That time he's gone the other way and tied one of his balls up by mistake. Yeah, I think that assessment pretty much sums it up. Can still carry on from here. He's got a couple of loose balls in the middle of the table that he can use to attack the problem area. It's a less certain outcome now than it was. Could go into them from here. Don't know if he could make it direct. Might have to come off the bottom cushion if he was to play the cannon from this position. Ideally you'd play the cannon onto the red, but has he got the angle to do that? That's pretty good actually. For a moment it didn't look great, but he can drop the ball into the right centre still and then allow access to the ball down the right hand rail. So crisis averted, knocked a ball safe, but looks like he's got it back out again.
Yeah, just plays this off the red. That's very nice. Cousins now with an opportunity to get a couple in front.
I don't know if everyone would play this ball first. It could be a temptation to play it the other way around.
Yeah, I'd have played the other way around, to be fair. Because because that's the only problem. And if you get that one out of the way, the other one's got a clear path. That's not the look of a happy man.
Unusual choice of shot, unless he could get close. If he'd have been straight enough on the other one that he could screw back, sure. But
I think this is very, very tight. I think you can just get it, you know. He could have done, he's hit that the other side a little bit. No.
Unexpected error. Slightly needless one. It's very unusual that you commentate on a 𝗏𝘃𝗀𝗃 match in career if he's played the wrong shot. He's so good at choosing the right one. Could choose to pot the yellow here, doesn't have to. It's a pressure clearance in the sense that you can't really afford to miss at any point. Doesn't really change it whether or not that yellow's there. You can see by his demeanour, some players would be coming to the table here knowing it was a pressure clearance, and even if they're expecting to get it, you'd see some signs in body language that they weren't sure. But Darrel's got a very positive approach here. He sort of strode to the table looking like he absolutely fancied the job, and all the balls have gone into the heart of the pocket so far. Well, that's the first shot that he hasn't hit quite as intended in this clearance. He's now going to have to play the long one, which again, to his credit, he's just getting down and playing. There's no head shaking and frustration that he's on the wrong ball. And why would there be when he can pot as well as that? So this is the pressure shot. Just off the cushion. Steer this ball down the left rail. This has been very good. And this is a warning for 𝗏𝘃𝗀𝗃. Can't afford any silly mistakes. Darrel Whitworth is there ready to pounce. This 8 ball to level the scores back at 2-all. And we're level. That was a good clearance from Darrel Whitworth. He was under a degree of pressure there. Couldn't afford to miss any of those balls. And never for a moment looked like he would. I've seen a couple of players break like this. Probably a shot you wouldn't have played on tables before this new generation of Rason Apollos, because queuing over the corner pocket would have been too much to get in the way. Decent strike on the pack, but nothing down. So after the error of the last frame, 𝗏𝘃𝗀𝗃's back to the table. So far this match has been all about Tom. He's been in first and he's either cleared up and won the frame or he's missed towards the end. Though in the last frame the counter clearance he left for Darrel wasn't actually an easy one. Had to be made. Still has a kind of relaxed demeanour. There's nothing about him that looks like he's under any pressure. Just maybe a tiny bit less clinical than when he's at his absolute best. Definite glimpses in his earlier round matches today that he was approaching his best. You do feel like if he can just stay in this tournament, I mean, were he to get through to semi-finals or finals, I think at that point he becomes a more and more prohibitive favourite as the tournament goes on. Most neutral observers are obviously going to look at this matchup and fancy the long-time #1 over the newly promoted pro, but let's make no mistake, this is a close game and not one that Tom could afford to take lightly. So 3-2 to Tom Cousins as he breaks off red ball potted. That's a good shot. Had to get on that red at the top of the table if he was going to take reds. Maybe it could have been squeezed around the yellow to the top right, but much better to play it into a clear pocket. And that's turned out pretty well because he can play the ball at the top of the table. If he doesn't land on anything else, he's certainly got the connector to the left centre. May try and play position for the shot to bottom left anyway. Choice of shots here. You can either cut the ball into the left centre or play the long ball to the bottom left. Most players are going to play the one to the middle, but yeah, he is as well. I was going to say he's a good enough 𝗑𝗃 that it's not out of the question that he'd considered the longer option. That's not the best nudge though. If he gets a full ball nudge there, he's on the ball to the right centre. He's now going to have to clip the thin one along the bottom rail. He's going to have to make up his mind as well which gap. Because alternatively he could play a double on the ball to the left of the cue ball. It's the ball that he's pointing out that's the more difficult one to get on though. Very good indeed. Had to play a pinpoint cannon there. Needed a full contact on that yellow, otherwise he'd have been off angle. That's finished about as well as it could have done. So after a little wobble a couple of frames ago where he let Darrell in, normal service seems to be resumed again. Good stuff from Tom Cousins, 4-2 now. The situation he ended up in against 𝗏𝗃𝗀 earlier on, where he almost managed to throw the game away, only to have to rescue it through a 6-red shootout. First chance in quite some time where Darrell Whitworth has been in first. Up until this point, most of it's been a case of Tom getting in and either getting the balls or not. Darrell's last break was dry. He's going to need to get a few off his own break. We know how many Tom is going to clear at the first visit from his own opportunities, so Darrell needs to do the same.
Yeah, still a bit finicky up there with those two reds. Black, I believe, only goes in the top left if it's completely stuck to that yellow. Just look at his angle now to get onto the last red, and he wants to leave himself so he can just roll straight behind the 8-ball. That's a very nice shot. Or is it? It's come up a bit short. Now then, by the little shake of his head, that tells you that the 8-ball doesn't pass the yellow into the top right. And if that's the case, he's going to have to go across twice here. Not a pleasant shot, this, because of where that yellow is. So he's going to have to hit this black ball very thin. Oh, that's a great black. Very, very good shot there from Darrel Whitworth.
Anything's possible, really. It could be a Cousins-Brennan shootout for the #1 status and for yet another title, or we could see some new faces and somebody looking to lift their first. Tom Cousins has always been ahead in this match, but he's never looked an unassailable lead. He's let Darrell in a couple of times. Darrell's made that one chance off his own break. Just have a feeling one of those matches, if Tom doesn't keep his foot on the gas, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Darrell get into it. And that's very much not the start he was looking for.
Yet another error from Tom. It's harder to overcut that red than pot it, really. So Darrel Whitworth now with choice of colour. And needed a double kiss to make it, but it's in the bag. And now a great chance to try and level this match.
Got to fancy him from this position as well, given some of the shots he's played. He is through the gap for the ball over the bottom left corner, but that would probably leave him the wrong angle on the one bottom right, so he's going to take it where he's down here. You can see an established snooker player as well, very conventional technique using the rest. The 8 ball isn't in the best spot, but as long as he leaves the red that's near the right centre, that affords a way of opening it up. Could decide to do that now. Not a bad shout where there are other balls on the table. That's maybe the slight danger of playing the shot that way. Can he see enough of the ball to pot top left? Yeah, he can, in which case that's turned out very well. Just overscrewed that slightly. He was just looking to put the ball to the left of the cue ball to the middle. No problem, though. And this is a big frame because back on level terms after Tom Cousins looked like he was motoring off. Mind taking this as a plant if it's reasonably well set, but he's not going to take it unless it's guaranteed, so he's going to go for the one over the pocket.
Yeah, played that shot very nicely indeed, Darrel Whitworth. Simple stuff now. And he's going to pull back to 4-4 with Tom Cousins. And all because Tom overcut what seemed a routine red ball in that bottom corner, and it's cost him the frame.
Persisting with this break where he places the cue ball right over on the side of the table, cues over the pocket. Much better outcome this time. A couple of breaks ago he came up dry. The last break he cleared from the break. This time he's given himself another chance to do that.
Yeah, he gave them an almighty crunch.
3 balls away now from opening up a lead. That wasn't something that looked likely 2 or 3 frames ago. Really struggling to think of a great deal he's done wrong in this match. It's been really clinical so far from Darrell. And the good run continues. Darrell Whitworth's not only got himself back on level terms with Tom Cousins, but he's now got a frame ahead. He's suddenly under a bit more pressure than he was expecting. He's hit that break well. Not perfect, but not bad. Bit of traffic bottom right. All of a sudden, this has turned into a must-win frame because he had a decent lead. He doesn't want to end up 6-4 behind. What's he doing with the ball on the right hand side? Does he just leave it for the double or does he try to disturb it?
I think you try and get this one out. If you're going to be playing a double, you're going to be playing it like a cutback one or a cross double. So Tom will try and shunt it out. He won't be too pleased with that. He'd have at least hoped it hit that second knuckle and it would have sprung out into the open a bit more.
Yeah, if that ball stays over in the middle pocket, this is a much different situation. You can cut the ball obviously bottom left, but that doesn't really do much from where he is. He's going up the table first. He's got a shot to play positionally here. Looks like he's going to play the double now. Still going to have to play quite a good shot to get position. May just be able to park the white somewhere in open play. That's a good shot. Didn't want the white running too loose. That's about as far over as he could go. Now he's just got one good long shot.
So he's done so well, Tom, here to dig himself out of this one. In goes the black ball and he gets to 5 each. And I'm sure it's when Darrell was looking at the table there, about 4 balls from home, he thought he might have a sniff.
2 great breaks in a row from Darrell Whitworth. Can he make it 3?
I was convinced that cue ball was going to drop them. Oof. Well, he has a starting ball, but it'll have to be a yellow.
Better than the alternative, but still not an ideal position. After several fast fluent frames, this is not the ideal one for that. The clusters of balls all over the table. Good positive shot there from Daryl, but still quite a lot of work to be done. But damned if you do, damned if you don't here. If you don't go for something positive, you can't really imagine anything good happening against someone like Tom Cousins, but equally doesn't really want to be chasing after a finish that's not on here. So having secured the choice of colour, he's going to bail out at the first opportunity, and hard to blame him for that. Really a great deal Tom can do here. He's just going to have to leave the cue ball on the top cushion. Well, this time an open shot for Tom, but still hardly the best layout. Don't think the yellow on the left-hand side cushion to the left of the red goes anywhere. The other ones, I suppose, could make pockets for everything, even the one next to the 8 ball.
Might go into the red and yellow here. If he goes in full ball, not really hard, but just firm, that red and yellow could double kiss and just squeeze that yellow over to the middle bag. That's absolutely perfect because he just runs this into the bottom right hand corner. He can then cut the yellow into the middle. If he gets the ideal position, he can just push the 8 ball away from the yellow and it sort of just rubs off it and he leaves himself on the yellow at the top. He's just so good at just dissecting these balls and picking them off like a surgeon. Well, he's overcooked that by miles. In fact, he's gone that far, he's landed on the yellow to go into the bottom corner. He was trying to land on that in the middle.
Yeah, that's amazing, having given him deserved plaudits for what he'd done up until this point. Although, as you say, he's gone so far, it may actually turn out to be a positive. This was not a good position when he came to the table. For a moment, it looked like he'd really unlocked the pattern. He's now got himself back into a bit of trouble. If you can see the ball to the top right, that would be a bonus. Obviously not the ball he played for off the previous shot, but that'll turn out okay.
Wants to make sure he comes far enough now so he can play that yellow next to the black into the corner. But also with the cue ball then just going past the black without going into it, leaves him an easy finish in.
Well, this has been a really fine clearance. This wasn't really on when he started. Don't think Darrell Whitworth would have been worried at all when Tom set off on that, but a couple of shots in, it suddenly started looking a lot more promising. Not a good white ball.
Yeah, not a great split either. You saw the reaction on 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃's face. And that's what he's been left with. Well, he had absolutely nothing to go for, so it's just had no choice but to opt for the best he could do as a safety shot. And we hear the chime. We are now going to be down to 15 seconds of shot as soon as Darrel Whitworth has played his shot here.
So 11 frames played, 9 minutes left on the clock. By the way these balls are finished up, they could spend a fair chunk of the 9 minutes messing around in this frame. It suits Tom marginally better than it suits Darrel, but I don't think he really... The issue for Tom is that he doesn't want this to become like a one-frame shootout at the end. He wants to try to open up some kind of lead, give himself a bit of a cushion. He's got a chance here. Well, no, not tempted. Does this yellow go to the middle? Yes, it does, but he knocked another one safe in the process. This time he's going to have to play a safety off the balls on the right-hand side of the table. That's a clever shot. Promote the ball.
Yeah, not bad there from Darrel. He's promoted his yellow to a more prominent position over that middle bag, and when you look at the table now, you do think that yellows are favourites.
Tom trying to tie things up, but he's ended up tying his own red up more than the yellows. Darrel doesn't need to go for anything yet. He's just going to try and perfect the position of some of his balls. So that's one more in a good position. That's a nicely played shot. So much fast, fluent stuff in the middle of the match, but then this frame eating up a lot of the remaining time. Well, Darrel's seen enough. He's decided he's got his balls into decent positions. He's going for it. He's going for it two at a time. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. What a disaster. How unfortunate is that? He's played a great frame there and he's played a decent shot. Look at this. How's he gone all the way around the table, off the red, and potted the 8 ball? That's unbelievably unlucky.
And all in the favour of 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃. But he's going to be dry. And just when you want Lady Luck to smile on you a little bit, She's turned her cheek the other way on Darrel Whitworth. Well, this is perfect for Tom Cousins. A really scrappy 13th frame. Tom 2 ahead. And take a guess where Darrel Whitworth's going to be after this shot.
Well, this is going to be a horrible ending to the match for Darrel Whitworth, having played such an impressive part throughout most of it.
Overrun it a bit there, did Cousins? I thought he'd have him glued to the black.
It's got to go in though, really. He's obviously got time to win this frame, but Darrel's issue is that he's got to win at least one more frame after this.
Yeah, Tom's happy. If Tom loses his frame, you know, in 2 or 3 minutes, he'd be more than happy.
We're still just at the position where there's enough time, so he's got to be careful for 1 or 2 more shots.
Cousins to break next though as well. Even if you're going off it, you still got to wait for the balls to come to rest. That's going to eat seconds.
What a shot Tom's played there anyway. Oh, how close was that from Darrel? Almost made the plant. Time really is running down now though. You know Tom isn't going to be playing anything until the 1 or 2 second mark, and he's going to be tucking Darrel back into this corner that he spent so much time in lately.
Choose 20 seconds to pop this. Well, he had to make that ball then. This is his only hope. Run out here and then hope something goes wrong with Cousins' break and the next one.
So 2 minutes 20 remaining. Surely there isn't time. If he can get these balls cleared. Oh, he's just missed. Oh, how unfortunate is that from Darrel's point of view.
He's going back behind that black ball, I tell you.
Well, the match surely all but over now.
Oh, lost a turn as well. Tom has got Darrel Whitworth just where he wants him. Superb pot there from Cousins. And he can actually play out the match here if he wants to.
Well, there's been some moments of drama, some moments of quality throughout this match. Ultimately though, it looks like Tom Cousins is now going to get the opportunity to run the match out. He's got time to complete the clearance, but even if he doesn't, it won't make any difference. A little bit unlucky in the end for Darrel Whitworth. That scoreline doesn't quite tell the story. It's going to be a relieved Tom Cousins. So, does it the proper way, gets the scoreline to 8. The scoreboard will ultimately read 8-5, but that was a match that could have been very different. Tom Cousins got off to a good start. Darrel Whitworth played well in the middle. Looked like he could go ahead. Then Tom Cousins just edged ahead at the end, and that unlucky, accidentally potted 8 ball from Darrel Whitworth ultimately sealed the deal.